Angela Fortune. This is Uncle Walt. This is Uncle Walt. This is Uncle Walt. That's also Uncle Walt. I'm jealous of his beard, and this is Crash Course. Walt Whitman. To begin with, we have a little background on old Uncle Walt. He was born on May 31st, 1819 in Long Island, New York, and by the time he was 12, he had dropped out of school and was working for a printing press. This background had a great effect on some of the poems written by Whitman, including the poem that we'll focus on today, Sparkles Off the Wheel. And to read this poem, we have a special guest.
All right. Hi. I'll be reading the poem today. Actually, my little friend will be doing it. Sparkles Off the Wheel. Where the city's ceaseless crowd moves on the long-lived day, withdrawn I join a group of children watching. I pause beside them. By the curb toward the edge of the flagging, a knife grinder works at his wheel, sharpening a great knife. Bending over, he carefully holds it to the stone, by foot and knee. With measured tread he turns rapidly, as he presses the light but firm hand, fourth issue, then, in copious golden jets, sparkles from the wheel. The scene and all its belongings, how they seize and affect me. The sad, sharp-chinned old man with worn clothes and broad-shouldered band of leather. Myself, effusing and fluid, a phantom curiously floating, now here absorbed and arrested. A group, the attentive, quiet children, the loud, proud, restive bass of the streets, the low, hoarse purr of the whirling stone, the pressed blade, diffusing, dropping, sideways darting in tiny showers of gold, sparkles from the wheel. Thank you.
Thanks, Sock. No problem, fam.
Andrew,
What?
it's time.
Time for the open letter?
Oh yeah!
Let's see what's in the secret compartment. Another picture of Walt, and there's a letter on the back. Dear Walt, you have a radical beard, but your writing doesn't make much sense to some people. No worries though, I've paraphrased Sparkles Off the Wheel for you. Sparkles off the wheel. Where the city's endless crowd continues all day, quietly I accompany a crowd of kids looking on. I stand alongside them. By the curb, near the end of the pavement, a knife grinder sits at his sharpener, working on a grand blade. Leaning down, he cautiously presses it to the wheel, with foot and knee, with light feet. He rotates quickly as he holds with nimble but quick fingers from the wheel. Then in abundant golden showers, sparks fly from the grindstone. The situation and everything in it attract and impact me. The gloomy, chiseled elderly gentleman with tattered threads and wide leather strap across his chest. I am liquid and flowing. I am a ghost exploring, and now I have arrived here enthralled and interested. The crowd, a minor detail, part of a larger picture. The captivated, calm children, the noisy, smug, uncontrollable center of the streets, the deep, whisper-like grinding of the spinning stone, the softly applied knife, spreading, falling, shooting outwards, in minuscule cascades of gold, sparks fly from the grindstone. Hugs and kisses, English children. Now that we have a better understanding of what Walt was trying to say, we'll take a deeper look at what he meant. Throw it to the thought bubble.
Thanks, Andrew, but we prefer to call it the sock bubble. Let's start with identifying the persona of the poem. Like in most of his poems, Whitman is the speaker. This is shown by his use of the pronoun I and what we already know about the poet. Give it up. Wait, I'm done. What? What do I do? Alright, the next topic we're going to address about Walt Whitman's Sparkles Off the Wheel is the tone. Whitman uses a lot of tones in his poems, a lot of different tones, but in this poem we picked up on the tones of contentment, and appreciation. Whitman uses a lot of sensory language and imagery to describe his admiration for these simple things that he comes across, like with this quote, "Diffusing, dropping, sideways darting in tiny showers of gold, sparkles off the wheel." The reader can really pick up on how much he appreciates and is intrigued by what such a simple thing that he sees every day in this town. And then for more on sensory language and imagery, we're going to slide down over to Emma.
That's a week.
Not quite.
Thanks, Liz. So imagery was one of three major poetic devices used by Whitman in Sparkles from the Wheel. This is shown in line 10 when Whitman says, "The sad, sharp-chinned old man with worn clothes and broad shoulder band of leather." This was an example of imagery as it really gives a good description of the old man, and it also helps to create a symbol, as this old man may represent the knife that he is actually sharpening. Another poetic device used by Whitman was personification. This was shown in line 14 when he says, "The low hoarse purr of the whirling stone." And this just helps to give a little bit more detail to Whitman's poem. And then the final use of poetic device was in the Caesura in line 13, where Whitman says, "The attentive, quiet children, the loud, proud, restive bass of the streets." This use of a Caesura to separate the children and the streets helps to create an emphasis in the difference between the quiet streets and the quiet children and the loud streets. So for more on themes, we'll send it over to Grant.
All right, where were we? So the theme of this poem is an average workers and their lives and struggles in America. Cue America intro. So continuing on the themes, Whitman mentions the tattered clothes of a knife sharpener, which was just an average job in America at the time. So he is representing the average workers. And America at this time was especially industrial in cities like New York, where he was born, and workers doing dirty jobs and difficult tasks for little pay. But Whitman emphasizes in his poem how the workers were still passionate about their jobs and their craft. Finally, to recap what we have went over today, first we talked about Uncle Walt's background, and then Andrew paraphrased the poem "Sparkles from the Wheel" with the help from the open letter. Then we took it to the sock bubble, where we talked about tone, persona, and poetic devices. Finally, we finished it out with themes about the American working class. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of our mini-series and our last ever episode. Hope you can grow a beard like Walt someday, because that's my life goal. So all I just gotta say is see ya.